As far as Season 3 goes in Modern Warfare, we are drawing to an end. We have a little less than 3 weeks left in this season, and with it, there is not much content that's left to come. We know there are 2 new maps that are within the game, known as Hard Hat, which is of course a remake from Modern Warfare 3, and Isle 9, which is going to be a new gunfight map or 2v2 map. So, relatively small map, you're probably not going to play it that much. So, not a ton of content that we know is coming in Season 3. But right around the corner, like I said, in about 3 weeks, we have Season 4 coming up. And from everything that I am hearing, Season 4 is going to be huge for Modern Warfare for many reasons. And that is what today's video is going to be all about. What exactly is coming in Season 4? And we actually have a lot more details about this than you may actually think. First of all, today, we got some leaked information of some weapons that are coming within Season 4. On top of that, a couple of developers have given us some breakdowns of things that are going to be coming in Warzone. And finally, after that, we simply have speculation, which I'm going to save to the end of the video because the speculation is by no means whatsoever confirmed. But essentially, today's video is going to be all about Season 4 and what is to come for Modern Warfare. So, without further ado, let me shut up. Let's dive into it. So the first thing we're going to dive into today is the leaks. And basically what these leaks are coming from is data miners. And if you don't know what that is, it's people who dive into the game files of things that already exist in the game and look at some files that maybe not be fully complete, but are in the game nonetheless. And all of these things that we're looking at that are data mined today are all new weapons that are going to be coming in the game. And essentially, this data miner found a bunch of information, game files, weapon sounds, visuals of weapons, which of course I can't show because I can get a copyright strike for those, but I can give you the breakdown of everything that this person actually found. And essentially what they found is there's currently weapon files for 5 different weapons within Modern Warfare. Now, as we know, generally speaking, with each new season, we get 3 new weapons. 2 right at the beginning of the season, and 1 midway through that season. So 3 of these weapons are going to be coming out with Season 4, and we're going to kind of limit that down the further that we actually talk about them. So let's quickly go through these 5 weapons that were found in the game files. The first of which is called the APC-9. Now, this is an SMG with an incredibly fast fire rate. This is actually one that's been in the game files since the very beginning of the game. I believe it was even in the beta files. Some people were saying that this might be the Vector or other things. That is actually not the case. It's a completely separate weapon, and it appears as though this weapon has actually been scrapped since launch, because it's been there since launch, and nothing has actually been added to those files since launch of the game. So we thought that this one was actually going to be coming with Season 1 or 2, and obviously, as we know, it is still not there. So my guess is this one's probably not coming with Season 4, but I will say there are still game files within Modern Warfare for this weapon. The second weapon is the Vector. Now, I know this kind of contradicts what I just said, but this was recently added into the game files. It's literally called the Vector in the game files, and it's new. It's not the same weapon that we talked about before, the APC-9. This is something new, and I think this is one of them that's most likely to come within Season 4. There's weapon sounds for this weapon, there's a couple images for it, and on top of that, it's new. Like I said, it's recently added into the files. Now, I'm guessing once this actually comes out, it will not be called the Vector because Modern Warfare or Infinity Ward doesn't like paying for the copyrighted names of weapons, especially with this game, so it'll probably be called something else, but it'll be designed after that. And that actually makes a lot of sense because in a lot of Infinity Ward games, they have vectors in their games as SMGs. So this is the one that I think is leading the way as far as what is most likely to come within Season 4. The third weapon is called the HK-G28. I didn't know anything about this weapon, so I kind of had to look it up. It appears as though this one will be more like a marksman rifle, not a sniper rifle, and with it, it'll be semi-automatic, similar to like the EBR-14 or the SKS, something along those lines. For this one, there is no game files of audio for the weapon or visuals, so it appears as though this one's a little bit further off, maybe coming midway through Season 4. After this, we have one that I find incredibly interesting, and it's the Galil. Now, why do I find this interesting? The Galil to my knowledge at least, has never been in a Modern Warfare or an Infinity Ward game. There's been similar weapons, but never an actual Galil. On top of that, the Grau that is already in the game can almost be set up to work like the Galil. So I'm interested to see what this one is and whether or not it's actually going to come, but this is actually one of them that actually has images and bullet sounds in the game already. So as far as what is most likely to come, we have the Galil and the Vector seem to be the two most likely weapons. And then the final weapon we have here, and in my opinion the most interesting weapon, is the XM109. Now looking at this weapon, it looks most similar to a Barrett 50 cal, but it's not. You may notice those bullets, they're not bullets, they're actually grenades. So this looks like it's going to be like a long-range grenade launcher, maybe good for things like taking out weapons in Warzone, or they're going to change it into some sort of 50 cal sniper rifle. I don't know. Apparently for this one, there is no weapon sounds and no images, so this appears to be one of the weapons that's actually the furthest off from being added into the game. So just as a summary of that, these are all of the weapons that are currently in the game files for Modern Warfare, but not actually in the game. Not all of these will be coming with Season 4, but some of them will be, and the two that seem most likely are the Vector and the Galil. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about here is actually confirmed. This was actually taken from an interview with Taylor Kurosaki. He is one of the lead developers at Infinity Ward, and he did an interview with GamerGen, and these are all of the things that he actually discussed, mainly revolving around Warzone. Essentially, the big question that they asked is what is next to come for Warzone, and he specifically talked about Season 4 and the idea of adding live events into the game. He was asked whether or not these were going to be similar to Fortnite's live events, and he said, no, they're not going to be exactly the same, but they're going to progress the story of Warzone as well as the map itself. He said there's a bunch of unanswered questions with Warzone, basically talking about the bunkers, and that these were slowly going to start to be answered starting with Season 4. So that is when we should start to see map changes. That is when we are going to figure out how these bunkers actually work and what do they do on the map and all of that kind of stuff at the beginning of Season 4. So of course, those are going to be some really big changes. The other big thing that he talked about here is the continuation of Warzone. He was asked whether or not this was going to be something that was going to continue through into the next Call of Duty game made by Treyarch, and his response was really interesting. He said, "We're in uncharted territories here. Call of Duty has been on a very regular cadence for many years, and Warzone has made us rethink exactly how best to release new content and how to integrate it. Call of Duty is a genre in itself. There are different branches in the Call of Duty tree, but they're all connected in some ways. Warzone will be the through line that connects all of the different various sub-franchises of Call of Duty. In other words, the Black Ops universe is somehow going to be getting intertwined with Warzone, probably close to the launch of the next game, which is going to be made by Treyarch, and that is so interesting to me because never have we ever really seen crossovers between the Modern Warfare and Black Ops franchise until this, and this pretty much confirms it. And what's cool about this is it appears as though we are going to start to see this story progress at the beginning of Season 4, and that's when Warzone is really going to start to evolve. And really, that's just 3 weeks away, so right around the corner. Now, the last thing I wanted to touch on is something I get asked more than pretty much anything else right now, and that question is, who do I think is going to be the next operator within Season 4? And let me start by saying this is not at all confirmed. This is just speculation. But the one thing that we do know from Taylor Kurosaki's interview with GamerGen is he said new operators are going to be coming with Season 4, and that's no surprise. But generally speaking, with the launch of every season, they have some sort of title character, a new character that's really going to sell the Battle Pass and add to the Call of Duty lore. And I think what it comes down to is there is 3 characters left that they could add that would really probably boost the sales of the Battle Pass and add a lot of content to the story. And those 3 characters are Captain Price, Gaz, or Kyle Garrick as we know him from the campaign, and last but not least, Soap McTavish. And we know that Soap McTavish is a part of the Modern Warfare lore because he's in the very last cutscene of the game. Captain Price brings him up. The other character that Captain Price brings up during this is Ghost, and as we know, Simon Riley, or Ghost, was brought with Season 2. So my best guess as to who is going to be added is in Season 4, I think Soap is going to be added, and then in Season 5, I think Captain Price is going to be added as a multiplayer character. Keep in mind, these are just guesses, but I thought since I was being asked it so much, I would just put in my 2 cents here, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it down in the comments. But as of right now, this is everything we know about Season 4. As we get more information, of course, I will keep you guys up to date. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, want to stay up to date on all of that, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you have notifications on. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, it is always appreciated if you hit that like button. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too